What's up guys, Gary here. The 2022 Subaru BRZ has been revealed and I'm pretty excited yet hesitant because I think Subaru had a great opportunity. Well, I shouldn't just say Subaru. I think Toyota and Subaru had a great opportunity to make tons of improvements, yet they were only incremental. I guess this is fine if you're satisfied with the previous generation's performance. The side profile looks to be very similar to the old design if you glance at it, and that's because this chassis is not a new design. They just revised the old platform for this second generation. This, I think, was the best solution because sports cars are low volume, and if they want to get something out soon, this is the best and cheapest path. The front bumper reminds me of a Prius, which makes total sense since they are collaborating with Toyota and that seems to be their current design. It also reminds me of a squirrel with a bunch of nuts in its mouth, so let me know what you guys think. It's nice to see a duckbill trunk, but the complaint with this style of trunk is that when you want to place a spoiler on it, it's hard to mount, it gets in the way of placement, or it just doesn't match at all. The rear reminds me of a Honda Civic or maybe an NSX, probably more an NSX since it has the strip in the middle of the trunk between the taillights and the license plate is on the rear bumper. The rear taillights are new and hopefully they won't have the moisture issues of the previous generation. Interior space is most likely going to be the same as before since it's using the same chassis and it looks to be modernized. The complaint of the first generation BRZ were the brakes, tires, and power. The brakes and suspension are probably carryovers from the previous generation, so there might not be much to talk about there. It's supposed to come with Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires, and most performance-oriented enthusiasts will probably swap these out anyways. The stock brakes could be upgraded with better pads or rotors, or I'm thinking that if it's the same as the first generation, they could be swapped out for the bigger STI calipers. The F820 has a dip in the power band, and this might be where drivers find themselves at in certain driving conditions, and it won't be a fun time. Yes, you can take care of this issue with a tune, but this should not be happening straight from the factory, especially when a tune can take care of this. The factory should have taken care of that tune because that just costs you more money. Now comes hopefully the solution. It'll be using a naturally aspirated F824, and no, this is not the turbocharged F824 version from the Subaru Ascent. This version will make 228 horsepower and 184 pounds-foot of torque naturally aspirated, and being a 2.4 liter, it should provide better drivability. If I were to predict a quarter mile time, I would think it would be in the mid-14s on a very good day. I just don't think bolting on an intake, headers, exhaust, and doing an E85 tune is going to make 300 naturally aspirated horsepower, but we'll have to wait and see because there's no numbers yet. My prediction is that future owners will eventually resort back to some sort of forced induction like a turbo or supercharger if they're looking for more power. The Honda Civic fell into this situation with the 9th generation. It went from a 2.0 liter in the 8th generation to a 2.4 in the 9th generation, and it provided better torque for driving around town, but it was no match for the turbocharged competition at the time. Hence, Honda went turbo for the 10th generation. Another car is the Honda S2000. It was a 2.0, then went to a 2.2 to help with drivability. Obviously, the S2000 has been discontinued. Another example is the Nissan Z. It's now going twin turbo for the next generation. You have to keep up with the times. Most everything is turbocharged right now, and if you're naturally aspirated, it's just simply too much money to spend to keep up. If you're fine with the power level though, then it shouldn't be a problem. For those of us who want more power, then it's going to be tough to accept that Subaru and Toyota couldn't have done the BRZ or 86 justice with a turbo. Maybe with an upcoming STI version or the next generation when it hopefully gets a new chassis that can accommodate a turbocharger. I know everyone wants a turbo, but a turbo adds weight, there's also cooling issues, and in this particular case, clearance or plumbing issues. Let's not forget that the price would definitely increase. These were the same concerns brought up with the previous generation, and being that it's the same chassis, it shouldn't be a surprise. Doing it this way makes it simple and affordable, and it still provides a great improvement to the driving experience from the previous generation. Next is the competition. The Z was an indirect competitor, and like I mentioned before, it'll be turbocharged this time around, and depending on the price, it might still end up being a competitor. The Civic Si is now turbocharged. Although it may be underpowered, simple mods can raise it up beyond BRZ power levels. The closest competitor would be the Mazda Miata, It's naturally aspirated, but still one heck of a car to compete with as a driver's car. The advantage of the BRZ would be that it's more utilitarian compared to the Miata. Ultimately, I think this is a good strategy by Toyobaru because it would have internal competition with Toyota's Supra 2.0, which is using BMW's 4-cylinder turbo, making 255 horsepower and 295 pound-foot of torque. And if the turbocharged FA24 was used, it would make 260 and 277 pound-foot of torque, which would most likely take sales from the Supra 2.0. Now, not only will it compete with the Toyota Supra, it may also compete with the Subaru STI. So yeah, this might be a great decision on their part. Price-wise, I believe they're targeting for a similar range as before. The chassis has been out since 2012, and with the improvements and the exterior and interior changes, I would think that it should be cheaper since most of the R&D has already been done, but we'll have to wait and see how expensive this second generation is. We all know that sports cars are a dying breed and the numbers didn't look that great. So maybe with this second generation's updates, there will be a revival. I believe they've gone through one major revision with the first generation. Let me know if I'm wrong. So in my opinion, this would be revision or update 3.0. 1.0 was the initial, 2.0 was the first revision, and this is a 3.0. It improves upon the complaints of the previous, and I believe we'll still continue hearing them for this one. I think what most people forgot was that the BRZ was designed to provide an affordable and fun driving experience. And guess what? It'll be offered with a 6-speed automatic, and there will also be a 6-speed manual transmission for manual enthusiasts. I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below of this new BRZ so we can continue this conversation. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to support my channel. I'll see you in the next one.